This was the year that the concept of homelessness intrigued me. I was relentless in my pursuit of answers. And I did what I know best at that time as a small kid in a big world. I painted these pictures and I sold them for a hell of a lot more than they were actually worth. To all of our neighbors, unbeknownst to my parents, of course. They finally got a phone call, but they weren't that upset about it. And what we did was, I'd grown up volunteering at the Mary Mother of Hope House downtown in Wilmington, as well as West Center City Daycare and Nursery. And with the proceeds from this, and my mother's actually here, I think it was $54. I don't know why that number sticks in my mind, but I think it was $54. So we brought that along with our standard donation that we made on a regular basis to the Mary Mother of Hope House. And that kind of speaks volumes about, where the motivation comes from, or what service looks like, or when we hear that call to serve, in what way, shape, or form, does it enter into our lives?
And what we ended up doing, myself and a couple of the other health volunteers, Jackie was a health volunteer, Lori and Tammy were youth volunteers, but they kind of got on this project. And what was actually spreading back then in 1999, 2000 was HIV and AIDS. It was a big thing on that island. Just sexually transmitted diseases or infections. Chronic diseases were also a big thing. Diabetes, heart disease was a huge thing. But what we ended up doing about a year in is we created this whole health education program, and we went to all the middle schools and the high schools all around the island. We actually took it on tour to some off islands as well. And we did an AIDS and almost like a sex education training. And we did it in a different language. But the issue that we came across is that if we wanted to talk about AIDS and HIV and sexually transmitted diseases, we could actually not talk about sex at all, because that was taboo. You can't talk about that. So we had to work around that a little bit, and we came up with different activities to do, and we really got the youth involved in that to kind of help us with that. So that was probably one of the big projects that I worked on.
If someone had told me that I was going to have a chance to hike and see Machu Picchu and go to the southernmost city in the Western Hemisphere and scuba dive and snorkel and see the Amazon forest and have some of the most privileged opportunities in my life, I would have just thought they were talking about something else. But I did want to serve. As Kevin said, I always wanted to serve. I'm the only one in the family who went this route, and I decided to go on Peace Corps, and it did change my life. And it changed my life entirely for the better in many, many ways. The man I met is my husband, who's sitting right here. I wouldn't have met him if I hadn't been in Peace Corps. And if any of you want to go to the Galapagos Islands, Galapagos Islands, so find a moment to talk to him. He also, when I signed up for this, I forgot to look at a map. So I didn't know I was 2 hours away from here. So Peter rescued me this afternoon. We drove here together. My children are adopted from Colombia, South America. That's also something I don't think I would have done if I hadn't been part of Peace Corps. I can go on to list many, many things in my life that changed as a result of
During my time in Nicaragua, I climbed 5 volcanoes. I climbed Volcano Tolica, which I was really close to 4 times. And I climbed San Cristobal, which is the tallest volcano in Nicaragua. I climbed it once, because once was absolutely enough. I never wanted to see that volcano again. And so you start and the terrain's kind of flat, and then it gets to this point where it's just basically straight up. It's absolutely crazy. And what you do is you have 2 sticks, you put them in the ground, you kind of shift yourself up, you take a breather, and you do it again. And you do that for 7 hours straight to get to the top. It is not easy by any means. The temperature is about 100, 104 degrees. Once you start, you just gotta keep going. So I was crying all the way up to the top. I was crying all the way down. I was not enjoying myself at all. And that's kind of like Peace Corps service. There's kind of a steep learning curve, especially at first. Especially when you're in training. You may not have knowledge of the language. You may not know where you're living. It can be really overwhelming. But here's the thing. You have trainers, you have guides, and you have people that are climbing this volcano with you. And so we talked a little bit about training, so I'm not going to go too much more into that. But when you come to your swearing in, you feel really prepared. And you have this family that's doing it with you. So this is my group. This is all of TESOL 62. And this is the day we swore in. And all of us who swore in completed our service, which to me is just an incredible feat. I'm so proud of all of us. I think it's also a fact that